This podcast is for entertainment purposes only and does not constitute professional advice. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed are the speaker's own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of their affiliated organizations. Hey everyone, this is Ryan, and it's just Ryan again. So basically we had technical difficulties, and the part that we previously recorded, Heather, Lisa, and myself, about our update, that somehow it disappeared. So without further ado, we have the episode that with our previously recorded episode interviewing Bradford W. Tilden, and here it is. Enjoy.
All right, so why don't we get to the interview portion of our podcast, and we're going to call in our special guest. We are honored to have evolutionary frequency healer Bradford W. Tilden with us today. So welcome.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
And you're from
the
name of your business, so our listeners know, is Crystal Music Healing.
Correct.
And we're just so excited to be able to interview you. Are you ready for all our questions?
Yeah. Love
Keep it as light as possible. Ha ha ha.
Oh, I get it. Light worker. Aren't we the funny
ones?
ones?
That's true. I am a light worker.
I had to throw a little pun in there.
That's cool.
Being punny today.
Yeah, it's the heat. I promise.
Yeah. It is the heat, for sure. All right, so Bradford, for our listeners who might be meeting you for the very first time through this podcast, we are just wanting to know a little bit more about Bradford Tilden, what led you to this path of healing and consciousness work. Can you describe a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure, thank you. Ooh, I think I believe I came into this incarnation when I was born with a very clear, well, it wasn't clear at the time, but a pretty major mission to contribute to the shifting of consciousness and raising of frequency on a very high level to help us all ascend to the new earth during this time of evolutionary, ascension. And when I was a kid, I had several out-of-the-box experiences that really that gave me the truth that there's more than the three-dimensional reality or the matrix reality that a lot of people believe is the be-all and end-all. And some of those were, being taken by ETs and, abducted and done some stuff when I was a young kid, seeing a golden glowing being hovering outside my window, and I shared that experience with my sister. And then there was, when I was 13, this very interesting thing happened that really, really connected me to the occult and to metaphysics. When there was this weird, I could feel a presence of something in my bedroom that I was absolutely terrified of. And for weeks, I would not go upstairs alone. I wouldn't go into my room alone. And then one day I got locked in my room for doing something disobedient. And it was there, and I turned my back on the door and I faced it, and it came into my solar plexus. And for years, I was on this quest. It launched me on this quest to understand what exactly had happened. And then, and I didn't really get an answer that I'm satisfied with until I read some of Dolores Cannon's work about 10 years ago, when she talked about some souls are so high in their vibration and powerful that if they were to fully incarnate at birth, they would make the fetus unviable. And so that they would have time-released soul integrations throughout their lifetime. And that really put another explanation on another phenomenon that happened my senior year of undergrad. And I'll backtrack a bit, as long as this isn't interesting enough. One day early on in my freshman year of undergrad, I didn't have any roommates. I had a single. And I woke up in the middle of the night, and there was a glowing archangel hovering above me and handed me a flaming sword. Now, I wasn't raised Catholic. I was raised Congregationalist, which is kind of like the laid-back Protestant. We don't have any idols or anything. They just preach love and inclusivity. And so having that interaction with an archangel really kind of made me pay attention. And then senior year, there was a psychic fair. People were having aura photography, and there was all of this chatter about this red gaseous form that was appearing in people's aura pictures in the background. So I stand in line, and the closer I get to the podium where the picture is taken, the hair on my arm is raising, and then just like this energy gets bigger and bigger and grows. And when I'm finally on the podium, there's this blast. I can't even tell you, I can't describe it. It's like a geyser of energy comes down, and my energy rises up. And it lasted for about 20 seconds. And then, they developed the picture, and it was completely white. Completely white. And I have these pictures. I love that I have evidence of this stuff. And then I went into the freshman quad, and I sat there, and I had no idea what happened. And my stubbornness is like, well, I was like, I got to go back. I want to go back and, and see what happened and take another picture. And so I went back in, and the aura photography people came up to me, and they said, just want you to know, after your photo, that red gaseous form disappeared and wasn't seen again in anyone else's pictures. And I was like, what was this? And again, I believe it was part of my soul integration. And at that point, as any undergrad, undeclared major does, asks what your purpose is. And at the time, I just got 2 words: to sing. And it didn't make any sense to me whatsoever, because I was a pianist, I was a cellist, I was in orchestras. I didn't go near a chorus or a choir or a show tune since my tragic, traumatic 5th grade musical when I was the lead tenor during puberty, and it didn't make any sense to me. And at the same time, I started hearing this drone in my head of this unidentifiable instrument sound. And fast forward, getting ahead of myself, years later, I enrolled in a sound healing school, and I saw the crystal bowls for the first time, and that was the sound. And I had been singing in the shower alone, privately, harmonizing with that sound in my head for 4 years. And as soon as I acquired one, I immediately started singing with it. And so that's kind of like, it launched my professional 20-year career of using my voice as a healing tool. And then the archangels came back when angels started to sing through me. In 2009, which was an assisted opening with using Lemurian seed crystals and apophyllite crystals. And that's something that's actually recorded. I preserved in the recording of one of my albums the moment where I first became a channel for authentic angelic frequencies from the higher dimensions. So that's a little bit of some dimension of my background.
I realize you answered like 5 or 6 of our questions.
I know.
Thank you. We appreciate that. And I have to say, if I was getting a picture taken of my aura and it came out all white, I would probably go back and ask for it to be done again because I wanted colors. Because I'm an artist that likes color. And
I did, and the second one was a full spectrum of balanced color around me.
Oh, no.
Check that out.
I was completely in alignment. I've got them somewhere. Dig them back
If I
up.
was to get an all-white one, I would go back and say, I think I broke your camera.
Right.
Can you do it again? And just for our listeners, just so people know, the camera that Bradford is speaking of is called a crinoline camera. And they do use them throughout some of the metaphysical fairs, at least here in Connecticut. And recently, I think there's new updated software that goes beyond the crinoline camera, where they can do like each chakra individually and what's sitting there, right? So that's gone. That's always, well, it's always adapting, right? It's always growing and whatnot. So tell me, like, what first introduced you to the crystal singing bowls and sound healing once you had this, moment of like, oh my gosh, this is what's happening for me? Where did you seek out training, and where did you know you were in the right spot, right? Hey everybody, love Ready to Connect? Become a Patreon supporter for $1 a month, and that'll earn you a shout out or a credit roll.
Love Ready to Connect? Why not support us with the Ready to Connect Enthusiast tier? For $5 a month, you get exclusive content, as well as power voting on our next topics, in addition to everything you'll get as a Ready to Connect supporter.
If you love Ready to Connect and you want to become a Ready to Connect insider for $10 a month, in addition to everything that you'll get in the other 2 tiers, you will also get a chance to be a guest on our podcast. All tiers, no matter how you choose to support Ready to Connect, you will be getting the podcast episodes a day early.
Thanks for supporting us.
Yeah, I'm going to be a bit vulnerable now, and this is all. I wrote about this in some of the collaborative books that I'm a member, I'm a contributor to, and spoiler that I'm working on my own book, and I'm going to reprint some of this information. So I'm
Keep
very
it brief so everybody can read it.
What? Though this particular book was called "The Energy Medicine Solutions." Mind powering. What is it? There's a long subtitle, but the Energy Medicine Solution, which is on Amazon, and it's with Brave Healer Productions, and she's a wonderful woman, Laura DeFranco, the CEO of this company. She's doing a lot of great work and giving a lot of amateur writers and healers an opportunity to share their stories and their work, and I'm very grateful to be a part of that community. I'm very intuitively guided, and I wrote about my intuitive guidance on one of this other books called The Intuitive Entrepreneur, which is also from Brave Healers, which is my favorite story that I wrote. After undergrad, the irony, and I love irony, and my guides give me a lot of irony in my life. The irony is, as a graduating music senior, they had 2 fellowship positions in the music department. Yes, I declared music as my major, since that's all that I do in my life, and which is also frequency-based, as you know. And so there was an assistant orchestral position and an assistant choral position. And I applied for the orchestral position, and they awarded me the choral position with 0 experience in choirs, anything like that. Talk about a sign from the universe. And so I ended up having private voice lessons with a voice healing teacher. He's very, very influential. He's on the other side. And after that year of formal training, out of the blue, he handed me Barbara Brennan's book, The Hands of Light, and he said, "This might be interesting. You might want to read this." And at that time, I had no real idea what I was doing. However, I met this professional pianist, and he asked me to give him a massage, and I did, and he couldn't believe that I had no formal training. And I'd always been interested in anatomy and physiology. So, as any, graduating Amherst senior does, I enrolled in massage school up in Greenfield, Massachusetts. And I had this wonderful 9-month program that taught me about the chakras, the energy, really, really got me into the body. And I was a natural, maybe with my piano, very, very, very gifted massage therapist. And I always felt that wasn't the be-all, end-all. And then after that, I still didn't know what I was going to do. And then one of my friends from Amherst invited me to move across country to San Francisco with him. So I picked up, with another friend, my entire life, put it in a box that my dad made that weighed 1,111 pounds, and he shipped it across the country with his connections in his work. And that met us there 2 weeks later, and I moved out there without a job, with just a place to temporarily live, no savings, no nothing. I'm like, I'm doing it. And then I worked as an accounting. I went to a LBGT job fair, got in a position as an accounting temp. That's who I got. I got hired as an accounting temp, no experience, but I realized it was the ability to learn accounting skills for my future business, which I didn't know what it was. And then ultimately, 6 months into attempt to hire job, I was diagnosed with HIV, and that really put my life into perspective. And I quit the job. I looked up to the universe and I said, I know I came here for something more than this. I will be your servant. I will work for you, universe. And the next day, one of my friends handed me a flyer for the Sound Healing Institute. And more irony in my life, part of my job was to make the money deposit daily. And I would walk to the bank and I would cross by this storefront that always was interesting to me. And it was like beveled glass, and it was curved. And I would look at it, and sometimes pause, and I'd look at it, and they said something about recording, engineering. That was the Sound Healing School. every day for 6 months. I walked by it and I looked at it, and it wasn't until I quit my day job and my friend handed me that flyer, and that was it. And I went to the open house the next day. The woman had the crystal bowl. My mind exploded. I enrolled, and the rest is history.
Wow.
So it took that traumatic diagnosis to get me to sort of get with the program, because I was really just drifting. You can really follow your intuition, and you really don't know where it's going to lead or how it's going to turn out. Now, I play the scenario in my mind in many different ways. Would I have arrived at that sound healing school if I hadn't become HIV diagnosed? I don't know. But living the life that I have, and being here now, having survived AIDS, I am just my whole life is an inspiration to others. And that really is one reason I've been here, is to be that inspiration, to say, we can do this, and we can do this in our own unique way, which we're supposed to. We're supposed to follow our divine path of authenticity. And many people come here, light workers come here, this is my belief, to heal ancestral trauma, to heal trauma and imbalance in the collective by going through it and coming out the other side. And it's like when someone beats a world record, then suddenly everyone else can beat it. It's that kind of breaking through the limits of the consciousness to see what's possible, because we are breaking down the old structures, not just out in the world, reflective pool. It's just in consciousness, there's very strong confines, these boxes of limit. And we are here, the light workers are here to bust through that, to tap into the infinite and the endless of the possibility of human growth. That's really what I believe and what I live. And I'm so grateful for my journey. So that was my HIV diagnosis is really what got me truly on the path. I was unconsciously guided up until I made that conscious connection with the universe. And it wasn't all rainbows and unicorns. That was when the real digging into the darkness began.
Shadow work.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's go.
Let's see. I'm trying to think. You answered a lot of our questions.
Yay!
I like 11.
Number 11.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so you use. First of all, thank you for sharing that story. I always find it fascinating hearing, the journeys that we each take to get to where we are meant to be. So thank you for sharing that.
And I think you can relate because you have a band.
Yes. Yeah.
Our own own host here
Is a musician.
Is a musician.
So when you're talking about music school, I was like, oh, I remember those days too. Yeah. So, but you use crystal, singing bowls, voice work, toning, and other instruments. I'm curious about the other instruments too. Do different frequencies serve different healing purposes?
If you like what you're hearing and want to check out more podcasts from Artist Haven Media, or are interested in recording a podcast at our studio, find out more information by visiting our website at artisthavenmedia.com.
Yes, they do. And it's interesting because there's the physical frequency, and then there is the psychic intention that goes along with it. And then there's also the belief, I would say the receptivity of the recipient. The physical frequency of sound specifically is quite undeniable. There's a rash of videos of the sand on the plate, sand on the wall, all the sound frequencies. And this is really a scientific study of the effects of sound on matter, which was pioneered by the German scientist Hans Jenny with his seminal book called Somatics, which I'm a geek and I have the original hardcover in my library. And he does some really weird stuff. And so that shows how can calibrate the different sound frequencies and see the different patterns that it makes. That's what happens in your body when you are exposed to a consistent frequency over time. Our body is, what we've discovered, that it's not really water, it's plasma. The plasma itself still has the ability to form into those geometric organizations, or those divine patterns. And those are the same patterns, those wave patterns that light likes to occupy. And so sound actually creates the structure through which you can translate the light codes that come into your body. And the Globe Institute of Sound and Consciousness, this is where I went in San Francisco for my sound healing, they launched a nonprofit called the Medical Sound Organization or Association, and they're currently mapping the frequency correspondences to all of the organs, all of the muscles, all of the everything you can imagine in the body, each different vertebrae, because they're differently shaped. Everything has its own vibration. Let's be clear. Everything is vibrating, and on some level is producing a tone. And so we can understand, based on wave dynamics, how things will interact. And they have demonstrated successfully killing leukemia cells in people and curing people of leukemia simply by frequency therapy. And so not all frequencies will do that. So your question is, different frequencies certainly have different applications, and it depends on the quality or the properties of the body that's resonating, that is receiving the frequency. So it's kind of complicated, but
a body that's
simple.
been abused with drugs and alcohol, like everything factors in, right?
Absolutely. You can get very, think about all the different organs in your body. So there's a vibration for a healthy liver, right? And then there's a vibration for the liver that's out of harmony. Treating it with the correct frequency will bring it back into health. So if you've damaged your liver from drug or alcohol use, you can repair it using frequency therapy. I would say probably complement to nutritional stuff and dietary and lifestyle changes, of course. And then there's more complicated. So we haven't even started talking about the crystals and gemstones yet. So I think that's a good way to start to get people curious and interested.
Can I interrupt you for one moment? I'm wondering if there's a way that you could just step back for a minute and for someone who is listening to this podcast who doesn't completely understand sound healing and how it works, can you give them, a new person that's listening, just kind of a baseline of what you're speaking of? Because what we're talking here is so in-depth, and I don't want to lose our listeners that are like, well, what is that? What is he talking about? What is a crystal bowl? What is the vibration? We want to bring everybody on this journey, not just the people that are listening and understand all of us here in the room today.
That was my question too. For the lay people out there, the first time person, someone says you should try sound healing, they go, what the heck is that?
What the heck is that?
What would a first timer coming to you for sound healing, what does that look like? What could they expect? What do you want from them? And what can they expect from you?
Sure. Thank you. I love this question. Thank you for dialing it back in.
Yeah. Well, we have, with beautiful people listening all over the world, and for somebody who's never even seen a crystal bowl, we want to bring them on this journey with us.
I am so grateful that sound healing has arrived in the collective consciousness and entering into the mainstream. 20 years ago, it would be very few and far between to find what we call sound baths on the schedule of yoga studios, for example. And now it's almost obligatory that a yoga studio has or offers at least one sound bath a month. And so let's talk. Yes, we're going to talk about sound baths. That's the basic introduction. Is people go, they arrive, they sit, they lie down, typically on a yoga mat with bolsters and pillows to support them and blankets so they don't get cold. And the sound healing facilitator has an array of specially chosen instruments and chosen for the healing properties of the sounds that they produce. And the crystal bowls, of course, are made of quartz, and they create a drone, a sustained sound. And what this does, I'll just talk about crystal bowls because they could go on with anything. The sound of the crystal bowl, it soothes the nervous system, and it provides relief and a sort of timelessness that allows stress and anxiety and the mental chatter and the drive to go, which is standard for our current society. It's a relief and a release from that. And people who can't seem to quiet their mind find success in the presence of these healing, soothing, relaxing, sustained sounds. And very quickly people drop into a deep, relaxed state, because sound travels through, it travels through physical matter. It needs a conductor, right? So water, I think most people know from science class, is a better conductor of sound. The body is also a conductor of sound. And so the sound waves come through you and they vibrate you, and every cell vibrates, and all of your nerve endings are massaged, and it brings your body back into the parasympathetic, which is the rest and restore and the recalibrate, instead of the fight, flight, or freeze state that most people are locked into. So it brings a lot of relief and physical and emotional benefit. It clears anything out of your body and energy field, your aura, that's not part of who you are. We can't help it. We collect energy. If someone across the room is angry, especially an empath, they will pick up on that anger and it will stick in their aura. Like, anger kind of hangs in the air. And the sound waves of these instruments just clears it all out. It's like a car wash for your soul. That's the best thing I can describe.
Yeah.
That's a great analogy.
It's just
a beautiful analogy. Thank you.
That's a good image.
That's a very good image for someone who has expertise of what they know they're doing, and someone who completely doesn't know what's going on here. That was beautiful. Thank you. Yeah.
So someone looks up Bradford Tilden crystal music healing, and they want to have a session with you. Are you saying that you only do it as a sound bath, or do they come and lay on a table like our Reiki clients would do? What would that look like for someone who just wants to have a session with you?
My private sessions are a little bit different in their delivery than the sound baths. I incorporate gemstone healing and also energy healing. The core of my sessions, I listen with the intake and we discuss what their goals are for the session, is always a gemstone healing layout, which again is frequency healing, and the gemstones are placed on their body in the specific array for whatever the purpose is, and they're receiving the energy of the gemstone healing. And then on top of that, I'm giving energy healing and doing sound with my voice, with the crystal bowls, with Tibetan bowls, however I'm intuitively guided. So my healing sessions are not a continuous tapestry of sound that's experienced in a sound bath. I incorporate the three different modalities to help people help target real specific goals and objectives in the individual sessions.
Okay.
So
Perfect.
someone feeling disconnected from their authentic voice could find it here, find it in the session, right? Finding their authentic voice. I mean, our voice, and I'm sure you can elaborate on this, our voice is a toning instrument, right? Our voice is sound healing in itself, right? And I think there's so much role that the human voice does play, correct?
Absolutely. So I also offer transformational voice coaching, which and I like to package it as a 12 session mentorship program. And or they could come in for an individual one. I found that, working with me, it takes a long time to break down or to break open, I should say, the throat chakra. I say to people, if you don't like the sound of your own voice, then healing needs to occur, and it's true. And I have not wonderful. I've got beautiful examples. I worked with one woman who sings in choirs, and she's in a community choir. They travel the world. She's a beautiful voice. We get to a one-on-one session. I ask her to make a sound. She bursts out crying and cannot. She cannot. The emotions are central to the throat chakra, and the simple practice of toning is a gateway to break through the limitations that you agreed that other people put on, that when you were a kid being like not feeling safe expressing your emotions, crying, anger, all of that stuff. Our society discourages emotional expression, to quiet it, to hold it in, to wait till later. And most of that stuff, that unprocessed emotion, is packed into the body, and it causes disease ultimately. And when just toning helps to vibrate all those emotions out, it's a flushing of the system, and it's really, really simple. Breath work is beautiful. Why not make sound on the exhale? and so, right? So it's like,
yet so complicated.
Yeah,
It sounds so simple because I think a lot of people get embarrassed to do that.
That's the first step.
I find that when I've been to sound baths and things like that, and when they end with the om or whatever, so many people just feel uncomfortable, and that I think is a different animal altogether. Why that is. But another question for you: when it comes to sound healing, crystal healing, what are some misconceptions you've come across with people who might not quite understand?
A lot of people believe it's not real, that it's not effective, especially the crystal healing, because it's not as easily perceptible. The sound, though, you go to a club, you feel the bass. How can you deny that? It's tangible. The misconceptions are that it's woo-woo, that it's not based in reality. It's just charlatanism and all that stuff. And it's all I can say is try it. Try it with a practitioner who has integrity and is authentic, and then see for yourself. And that's those are really the biggest misconceptions, I think, are that people deny its power and effectiveness.
I think with Heather and I in our business, when it comes to Reiki or psychic mediumship, there's a lot of people, the misconception about it being woo-woo, because they don't realize that a lot of it is based in science. And understanding the science part of what you do helps people to understand more about the metaphysical aspect to things, right?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are there simple sound practices that maybe you could give one example to our listeners that they could do at home to practice and reconnect with themselves, and just kind of reduce stress or reduce fear? I know each one of those words are actually in their own tone, but maybe there's something you could have, give to our listeners that practice this tone, and not just the om tone, because I think the om tone gets thrown around a little bit sometimes, and some people do put the woo-woo around that tone, right? Even though we know there's so much more to that sound, especially in different religions, om being the sound of the universe and so on and so forth. But what would you recommend? If I wanted to go home and just reduce a little stress out of my body, what tone could I pull out of my body? Because I know I'm going to struggle at first, but what would come if I practice with it? Flow.
Another great question. I have a lot to say about om, but we'll move on.
We both do, but we'll nip it.
So I coach and invite organic opening. And so the best thing to do is to find, when you feel overwhelmed or fearful or any negative, and you feel out of balance, wherever you are, because you always have access to your breath and your voice, just sit and just center yourself. Just maybe take a few centering breaths first, just to orient yourself, and then hum. Begin with the hum. Just hum like this. And then repeat it at least 3 times. And while you hum, observe the feeling of almost like settling in. The hum restricts the airflow, so it takes longer for your lungs to deflate, and it gives you an ability to feel that coming down, calming and relaxing. And then also just inhale at your own pace. There's no rush to begin the next one. And then hum again, and you will access deeper layers of relaxation and release more stress. Now, humming simulates the sensation of being back in the womb, which is one of the most comforting sensations of your cellular memory pre-birth. That's why it's so powerful. And we also observe a lot of autistic people or children humming. They inherently go to that sound with their voice. And it's not just the sound of it, it's the vibration that it produces in your body. Just hum 3 times, and then, of course, you can do more. Mostly that's enough. If you have a strong emotion that you need to release, then you can open up with an ah or an oh, and just let that be the vehicle to discharge the pent-up emotion.
Is the sound... Oh, sorry, Lisa. Is the sound of the hum our soul speak? Letting loose, letting out, coming forward? Is it... And once you can move forward and trust the hum out of your body, do you believe that's the sound of our soul speaking?
I believe there is a connection we can make with our body through our voice to our core and to our soul, and that when you make that connection, the soul speak can present in any number of ways. There's a quality about it. There's a deep alignment about it that you can feel. And I witnessed this. One of my favorite experiences with a woman who hired me for voice coaching when I was in Portugal. We had a crystal bowl, and she'd be like, I'm trying to get her voice open. It's like very closed, and a lot of people have closed voices, and it's just locked. And then I think our 3rd session, suddenly this resounding, like it just came from somewhere, and it came from her soul, and it woke her up, and she was never the same. She was completely empowered. All of us have access to our soul, and it's through the sound that we discover that. And so, yes, it is the soul sound, and it's beautiful, and it's life-changing and empowering.
It is.
Very
much so.
I have heard humming is a way of prayer. That when people just hum, sing song, hum, it's actually a prayer through sound being done. So I can understand that in particular. And just one other comment, being a feline owner, a lover of cats, I've also heard that the purr of a cat will bring you back to that feeling of being in womb, which is why the purrs of a cat
Calms the nervous system.
Yeah, it does. It'll calm
It does.
the system. Yeah.
Yes, they have the frequency is it heals the heart. It repairs the heart. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right. What we got?
Let's see. So many of our listeners may never have heard of universal white time healing. What exactly is that?
Oh yeah. Ah.
This is a good question.
So it is, and again, my life is not. My life has dramatic, moments in it, and so I hadn't heard of it either, and I stumbled across. Well, I stumbled across it. I was guided to it in sort of an indirect way. In the sound healing school, I had a lot of. Um, um, Openings, and I started really connecting with my guides. And anyway, I listened to them, and I'm just going to make it really short. I uh, I ended up in front of the. I didn't know it at the time. She was the head teacher for Universal White Time Gemstone Healing in the United States, and this again was in 2006. And I received a gemstone treatment from her, and the treatment itself was profound. My body just started pulsing for 20 minutes just because some random stones I didn't recognize were placed on places on my body. And this is also in the story from the energy medicine solutions. And I had also had a dream that I wrote down in a journal a year and a half prior to this meeting, which described her house and her healing room and the experiences verbatim. And her house is hexagon shaped, so it wasn't just a random. I mean, it was very specific.
Yeah.
Just a little.
And so and because of that, because of the physical experience of me being guided there and the dream, I paid attention and I agreed to study with her. And then I signed up for her next class, and during that class, there's energy initiations. I just received I reclaimed access to a whole bunch of knowledge that I had amassed from past lives, and also connecting with my higher self, who was an Arcturian frequency healing master. And so I just, all of this stuff became like a review for me instead of a new subject to explore. So what is white time healing? White time healing is a modality. It's an energy healing modality and a gemstone healing modality. They're interwoven. There's 4 levels of each, and I'm now a teacher of all 4 levels of each. The leading teacher in the East Coast of the United States. Certainly for the gemstone healing, there's only 4 of us in North America. So it has been designed by higher beings in our star family, and also going all the way back to the central sun of the universe and the universal alliance of light. This is a modality that is known and utilized throughout the entire universe, although it's modified to meet the specific needs of each individual planet. And so it's extraterrestrial in origin. And I kind of refer to it as the Reiki of the universe, because most people now know what Reiki is like. And my guides gave me this visual. If Reiki is a conch shell, then white time healing is the ocean. And you just like settle into it. And of course, the conch shell fits into the ocean. Most white time practitioners are, I wouldn't say former Reiki masters, they are Reiki masters that sought to continue to increase their powers. So white time amplifies the Reiki, and then it allows the healer to continue to grow in strength, because every time you use it, it gets stronger, so there's no limit. You continue to evolve, to get stronger, to heal, and to have a larger presence that positively influences others and the environment around you. The woman that is her official title is Ambassador for Earth for White Time. She's an ET contactee who was first contacted when she was 6 years old, and she lives in Sweden. And she would go on to crafts with her physical body and go to other planets in temples, and she would be taught all of this stuff her entire life. So it's not a channeled modality. She learned it. Like she went off to boarding school and came back, and she was given permission to start teaching it publicly and openly in 1993.
Wow.
And so she started with her small circle of friends and associates in Sweden, and it has since expanded into a growing global community of practitioners and teachers. And one of the unique, there's a lot of unique features. I mentioned that it's extraterrestrial in design, that the practitioner constantly increases their power. It complements everything else. It's not exclusive, it's inclusive. And it brings out the individual's uniqueness. It certainly amplified my sound healing. And everything about one's life becomes sort of blessed. I don't want to say bad things. Things can happen, but they happen in the best possible way, because there's a lot of healing and mitigating karma, right? A really intense karma has to be experienced on some level. But instead of maybe needing your leg amputated, maybe you'll just sprain your ankle for like a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And there's so many stories personally in mine and my students, and its origin, it comes from outside the universe. So it comes from beyond the universe is where the true origin of white time is. And it comes through and enters into the universe at a particular spot, and it comes down, and the practitioner has actually, we literally call it a funnel, that you're connected to the practitioner during one of the first initiations that gives them access to the force of white time. And the name indicates that all time is present in one unit. Like all white noise is all sound frequencies, and the color white is all colors. White time does contain all sound and color frequencies and time. So you start to learn and understand a little bit, because the linear experience of the limited human consciousness, to be able to experience truth outside of time is very challenging. Because all that we know really is the passage of time. And yet that's just at this level. When you take it up a step, you see it all. And you understand that everything is happening simultaneously. And it's hard to wrap our heads around that, right? Like Lemuria is happening right now. Atlantis is happening right now. The future is happening right now. And white time, I don't really fully understand it, has the capacity to go back in time to prevent an illness from happening, for example, heal the illness in the present moment, and also prevent it from recurring again. And I've had moments in my life where I actually went back, and a lot of my consciousness traveled back, healed things, and I felt the change catch up to me. It's phenomenal, and I'm still learning how to understand it. It really does solve problems outside of time.
In Reiki, we use certain symbols to go back in time and forward in time to help mitigate different kinds of illness and things like that. So in a way, it sounds like white time would be more like the crystal quartz that would amplify that. Does that make sense to you? Like when you talk about your sound healing being amplified through white time, it just made me think of the crystal quartz that's an amplifier of quartz energy. It's really kind of interesting. I find it fascinating what you're talking about.
I am profoundly grateful you have come on and done this interview with us. We've learned so much and reconnected with so much. I mean, you're an incredible writer, and you've co-written, and now you're a composer and recording artist. Tell us about your upcoming album, because it sounds like this is where we need to, get everybody on board and sell some copies.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. On my to-do list today and tomorrow is to do the pre-sale of the album on the download on I have a Bandcamp site. If you're not familiar with Bandcamp, it's a site for alternative musicians to share their work. It's a platform. And so this particular album is called The Archangel Meditations Volume 2. Again, working with the archangels. The Volume 1 I produced in 2009 when I worked with Archangels Michael and Archangel Uriel, and created 2 half-hour meditation tracks and also complementary gemstone healing layouts. And so you can listen to those tracks and connect with those two archangels, and you can receive healing, and you can deepen it by working with the gemstone layout as well. And I always knew there'd be more, and I didn't know when it would happen. A couple of years ago, I was invited in another book project called 25 Tools for Transformation, and I was resistant because I had done a lot already. And then Archangel Raphael just juts right in, and he's here right now. He's sort of in the background. I called him in, and he basically demanded that I participate in the project because he has a tool, a very simple tool, a shielding tool that he wants me to get across and to be his messenger. So I incorporated that into that chapter. And then we started doing some workshops for shielding with Archangel Raphael, where I would, teach the shielding technique. And then he says, "Now we're going to make an album." And I said, "Okay." So I've had a lot of demand for my recordings of my live sound journeys, my cosmic shamanic sound journeys, which are sound baths, but that are more multidimensional in origin, because I pull in and I work with the higher beings as well. And so we did record that in January at a recording studio at the Recording Den in Bethany, Connecticut. And we actually just put the order for the CDs yesterday. So it's like really happening right now, and we're very excited. The music is, we had some challenges. It was crazy, all these obstacles that came up for this thing, but I was determined to let this happen. So I'm very excited to say we're hosting an album release party for anyone in the area, on August 8th, the Lionsgate portal, because I just love the Lionsgate portal. It's our direct, the galactic portal to the Sirius star system. Of course, the joyful dolphins and whales resonate with Sirius, and a lot of my soul ancestry is from there. And so the album is about a 40-minute sound journey, very powerful. And also the last track is the shielding technique as a guided meditation that my intention is people will use. They can even host events. They can use just press play, and it's very beautiful, and Raphael will come in whether or not I'm there. We also have a gemstone layout for Archangel Raphael as well. And I'm just really honored to have been chosen by an archangel to work in this capacity with sound and music. And so my sound baths, I take the energy and I shape it into musical form, as opposed to just abstract sound events that most sound baths, many of that I've experienced do, because I just have that compositional gene. And so you understand what I'm talking about when you experience them or listen to the recordings.
I'm sure Ryan understands the compositional gene.
Right.
And
form, balance,
yes.
resolution, the choice to end on the major third, or, the open fourth. Ooh.
He's speaking your language, Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm really excited about it. And I have another one coming up, which is my piano music in November, but I don't want to talk about
that too. Nice.
Yeah, well, these are pieces I've been holding on to for 20 years because of the way my life went, and I'm finally at a point where I've recorded them, and they're good enough. This music is really hard. I wrote a lot of hard classical piano music.
Even
it's
when
beautiful
we think
stuff.
they're good enough, we're like, now we got to do this. We got to change this.
Is there a favorite track that you have with either the piano music or other music? Is there a favorite track that you recorded?
Yes. On the album Angelic Incarnation, which the first track has the moment where an angel first sang through me. The second track on that is called Cosmic Journey Number 1, and it is electroacoustic meditation with my voice and some bowls and just a really trippy cosmic soundscape. My teacher, one of my white time teachers, she says she plays that track more often than anything else for the healing sessions. I use that during my initiations as well, and in my sessions, it just takes you somewhere. Yes, it's a half an hour long, However, it is a mood, and if you listen to it, you will go on a journey. And that's one of my favorite pieces that I've ever produced. Yeah. Check it out. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Music. Of course, you can purchase it on my Bandcamp and all of that stuff. A lot of my music is available to stream, and so please, I invite you to explore it.
Yes.
We're so happy that you were able to share with us. Honored to share time and hear all about you, Bradford, and what you do. Where can our listeners, before we let you loose from us, so to speak?
We don't want to, though.
Yeah,
by the way. We could sit here all day with you, but we know you have places to be.
Where can our listeners learn more about you, upcoming events, where to find you, classes, music? To give them all your details, where can they find you?
My website is a really good first place, is crystalmusichealing.com, and my event page has all my upcoming events on there. I don't know when this is airing. I have a level 1 energy healing. I have a level 1 energy healing course coming up very soon at the Recording Den. They were really called to host it there. So if you're local and you're interested, that's a great opportunity. And I have a Facebook business page, Crystal Music Healing. You can go on there as well. I'm on Instagram, Bradford Tilden, and my Bandcamp is Bradford W Tilden. So Bandcamp is weird. It's like HTTPS bradfordwtilden.bandcamp.com, and that's the URL for that. And yeah, so you can reach out to me in any way you want. Info at Crystal Music Healing. And yeah, I just love hearing from people. My sessions are also powerful via distance, and I do a lot of work on Zoom. There's so much other stuff we didn't even get to. So
we might have to do interview number 2.
Maybe, yeah. And so yeah, the album release party, it's catered. We've got in Fusion Deli and Love Lou's mobile wine and beverage bar. and I'm doing a private piano concert at the end too. Brief piano concert. They have a nice baby grand piano there. So
beautiful. Yeah. Well, I will look for that, definitely.
That sounds lovely.
That sounds lovely.
We like to end all of our episodes with a affirmation. So we have our affirmation jar here, and I'm gonna, if you don't mind sticking on while we do it.
Please.
We're gonna have our resident musician pull.
Yes.
There's a little tie there, and see what we have for our affirmation. We've been fighting; they kind of fit.
Hopefully, it's a good one.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Let's see. Faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase.
Love that. That's a Martin Luther King quote.
And actually, that fits your journey at the beginning. Yeah,
Wow.
See, they always fit.
Yeah.
They always fit. Well, thank you for being with us, and thank you our listeners for being with us, and we look forward to connecting with you all next week when we'll be in your ears then.
Thank you for tuning in to Ready to Connect. If you're interested in exclusive behind-the-scenes content, be sure to like, share, and follow us on social media by searching for Ready to Connect Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And for those looking to further support our podcast, consider subscribing to our Patreon at patreon.com/readytoconnectpodcast. And until next time, get ready to connect.